What is up guys, Fahan here and welcome back to another automotive review. This is the review of the Yamaha YZF-R15M. Huge thanks to Vroom Racing for loaning me this bike for the review. Alright guys, so I'm trying a totally new mic setup once again, and hopefully this really resolves the sound issue lah. If not, you'll be hearing this in a voiceover. Okay, so let's get started with riding review of the Yamaha R1M. So starting up, pretty straightforward, uses a key as opposed to a transponder, and this is surprising because nowadays Class 2B premium bikes would have transitioned to a transponder, but then they decided to use a key for the R15M, in which I'm not complaining, but it would be nice to have a key. Put a key in the ignition, twist the ignition, and starter button, and as you can see, the starter button combines with the kill switch, so starting it up. And yeah, just now I was at Simlim buying a sponge for the left mic, so hopefully this really resolves everything. Actually seen a lot of YouTube videos on how some other motor vloggers place their mics. So I've had this bike since yesterday. So this is my first ever sports bike review. I have to say that I'm really not used to riding a sports bike. Its riding posture and position is really similar to the Royal Enfield Continental, and I'm leaning forward really considerably. It's heavy on my palms. The full weight of my body is in my palms right now on the handlebars, so something I have to tahan lah. And riding long periods, it really hurts my back, so it's certainly something I need to get used to. I think if I'm like maybe 10 years younger, no issue lah for my back lah, but for the sake of this review, I have to tahan lah. Like I said, I'm not used to this kind of sports bike riding position. I'm used to adventure bikes, all the upright sitting position bikes, so this is certainly something that one needs to get used to. I've borrowed the Yamaha R15M from Vroom Racing, and they actually have 3 currently in the fleet. So this particular one is still running in, and basically I'm not allowed to go above 80 lah. It's okay, you know, I mean, I'm not even going to speed in this bike. I'm just gonna tell you how I generally feel about it lah. Okay, so heavy traffic right ahead. I think we're gonna lane split. And love the one thing about the R15M is that lane splitting really awesome because of its smaller profile. Makes lane splitting a breeze. Handling is pretty awesome. Turns and leans wherever you point the bike to. And this bike, you don't use your handlebars that much to turn the bike. You mostly lean with it. And despite being a Class 2B bike, I'm really surprised at the performance, torque or pickup. It's pretty awesome, as you can see. Oh man. And comparing the MT-15, which uses the same engine, it's a very different engine setup over here. I mean, for Yamaha, the 155cc series of bikes, they really tune it in a way whereby a scooter is supposed to behave like a scooter, and for a sports bike, you need the torque. The MT-105, which is a street fighter, is more to a city street kind of setup, in which torque is not really the main priority, but the low to mid-range torque is really needed. So for this, off the traffic light, it's pretty fast, very torquey, and also the low to mid-range torque is also pretty torquey. Yamaha really did an awesome job on the engine tuning for the R15M. And for the R15M, the base model is actually called the R15 V4. Basically the design and everything is very similar, only the R15M is supposed to be that premium bike that is inspired by the Yamaha R1M. For the R15 model, this is the first iteration of the M variation, so it's pretty interesting to see the M racing package on a Class 2B bike. They marketed this for mostly developing markets, so it's a very popular bike in India right now, and I have seen a few riders like riding around on the R15. So mostly young riders and I can see why a sports bike really appeals to the younger riders, because it's really an attractive bike. I mean, when you look at the R15 V4, or in this case the R15M, when you look at it overall, it's a pretty beautiful design coupled with the awesome performance and handling. And Yamaha really built this bike for the streets, and also with the ability to track this bike in mind, you know, without too much changes. So basically off the street you can just play the tracks with the Yamaha R15M. So city setting, city situation, being a class 2B bike, it's able to take on city traffic, start-stop situations. And even if you're behind a car or following behind a car, it's a tame bike, I would say. So the 155cc engine is not that powerful, it's not too torquey, unlike the R1. It really makes taming the bike a breeze. And I really love the overall setup over here, the handlebar controls, the LCD gauge cluster. Feels pretty modern, updated and premium. On top of that, the fog caps over here, this is exclusive to the R15M. I think the R15, the base model, the R15 V4 still uses just a plain silver one. But I must say that it's not only an appearance package guys. The R15M has traction control, also quick shifter. So quick shifter, put it simply it's like you are riding a clutchless kapchai. So it's basically the ability to change gears without clutch or even throttling down the bike. So I'm already at 5th gear, I'm already at 4th gear. I'm not using the clutch at all, and it does come with simple clutch, so really makes it easy on the hand, and it's not too heavy and pretty easy to put it on neutral. So the riding experience of the Yamaha R15M, wow, it's pretty awesome.
Inspired by the likes of the Yamaha R1M, the M variant of the Yamaha R15 V4 was first launched in 2021 and is a part of the famed Yamaha R series of sports bikes. Marketed as a low-cost beginner bike with the ability to transition easily from the street to track, the R15M is popular in developing markets for aspiring young riders wanting a small sports bike with premium styling. Engine is 155cc liquid-cooled 4-stroke 4-valve single-cylinder SOHC with fuel injection and a 6-speed manual transmission.
So let's start off with the riding posture, and as you guys know from my Continental GT review, Royal Enfield, I'm not too keen on this sports bike sitting position. Okay, it's very aggressive, you're leaning forward quite a bit, and all your weight is on your palms, right? So can get numb, but you can just use your body to tahan yourself on the bike lah. And supposedly there's 2 riding positions. This is the street riding position, okay, and when you're on the track you're supposed to go like this. I think it's like this lah. Yeah, so it's supposed to make it more comfortable for you to tuck in when you're on the track lah, like this. I'm not sure if this is the right way, but yeah. So the ride height is 81 cm, 165, and pretty much tiptoeing slightly on the R15M. I think vertically challenged riders wouldn't have any issues when they're sitting on the bike like this lah. And also it's light, 142 kg, which is like, wow, amazing, when you're sitting on it stationary like this. It really makes it easy to handle and push the bike around, and start-stop situation or slow traffic, it really is a dream to be on a bike as light as this lah. Next is the general design of the Yamaha R15M, and wow, I must say that Yamaha really hit it home with the design. The front of the R15 V4 is adapted from the Yamaha R7, and the sides here very much retained from the V3, but they've slightly modified the design a little bit. Bi-directional LED headlights on the sides here, and the center daytime running light. In my personal opinion, it's a sleek, modern and sporty design which really appeals to the eye. I don't know how to say that it's ugly. It's really, you must have a grudge against R15 riders. So let's talk about handlebar controls. Basically simple, straightforward, nothing too complicated, nothing too fancy, not too much buttons. So for riders who are looking for a simple setup, the R15 V4 is the bike for you lah. So clip-on handlebars, okay, so you can adjust it to your liking. Over on the left over here, and there's the high beam, low beam, passing light, the left right indicators and the horn. To the right over here, there's the kill switch button together with the start button. Typical of Yamaha, they already did this for a long time. And the hazard lights, and also the trip and info. So the trip and info is used to toggle the full LCD display over here. Very, very, very informative. Adjust your info and it shows you your average fuel consumption, traction control, whether it's turned on or off. There's also a voltmeter, the coolant temperature. You can actually go into track mode on this bike by long pressing the info button. And the trip button toggles between the odometer, trip 1 and trip 2. So pretty straightforward, not too confusing. Pretty bummed that they didn't go for a TFT display, but I think for a Class 2B bike and the cheap sports bike, I think the LCD screen is more than enough. Cannot complain there. Let's talk about the riding tech on the R15M, and I have to say for a Class 2B bike, it's really packed with features that is only like available for a premium bike, and you would expect it to be on a Class 2B bike. Dual channel ABS, LED lighting with the exception of the indicators, and there's also phone connectivity via Bluetooth with the Yamaha Y Connect. So you can see if somebody is calling you or texting you on the phone, and you can check your lap times, your maintenance schedule, basically everything about the bike. You can just open up the app, check your bike whether it's due for servicing, which is, in my personal opinion, pretty awesome for a Class 2B bike. And also slipper clutch really makes it easy on the hand and to change gear. So putting in neutral, there's no issue with it. And as with all the 155cc Yamaha models, there's VVA, variable valve actuation, and it's activated at 7500 RPM. Given that this is supposed to be a R1M inspired machine, the R15M comes with additional features that is not available on the base model Yamaha R15 V4. Oh my god, it's really a mouthful. You get a quick shifter. You need to off your throttle and clutch in. You just basically change gear like a cup chai lah, a clutchless cup chai lah. I tried it out and it's pretty jerky, but what can you expect? It's not like the dual clutch transmission of Honda, you know. And also the automatic side stand engine cut off. So this feature is usually found on Class 2A or Class 2 bikes, and they've added it to the R15M model. And traction control, which can be toggled on and off, so you can long press the info button to toggle, and this really is useful for when you want to track a bike and traction control actually hinders you, you know. And also there's two riding modes, track and street. I haven't really tried that out yet. Also the R15M comes exclusive with this color, in which this beautiful matte silver and glossy black with blue accents, which in my personal opinion looks really, really sweet and really ties it to his bigger brother, the R1M. And also grey swing arm and exhaust heat shield. The R15 V4 is actually black in color. And also exclusive to the R15M, there's also a MotoGP edition with Monster Energy branding.
Additionally, there's also a World Grand Prix 60th Anniversary Edition livery, exclusive to the R15M.
Additionally, for the R15M, you get this special seat, which what Yamaha calls it. So this special seat is supposed to be more grippier than the base model R15 V4. And I must say, when you're riding on it, you don't really slide on it too much. So, pretty good, Yamaha.
Also, the R15M had raised badging, while the R15 V4 is flat.
Horn check for the Yamaha R15M. This video is not made with Yamaha Honlong's blessing, so I cannot get the price tag for the R1M. But according to Carousel, I saw some listings. There's I really presume that the machine price, there's no COE on it. So one listing listed for 6,388, and there's also one MotoGP edition for 6,188, which is like $200 less for some reason. And there's one listing listed for 16,499. So I really presume that this is with the COE lah. And comparing this with the regular R15 V4 is 6K according to one Carousel listing lah. I'm loving this bike, man. I'm really loving it. Other than the riding posture and the fact that you're leaning forward considerably, and like my full weight is now on my palms right now on the handlebars. Other than that, I think it's pretty much okay. I think I would prefer the MT-15 over the R15M. given the riding posture. But yeah, I think it's a pretty awesome bike, man. So as you can see just now, I rode into the city streets, no issues with taming it, even though it's a sports bike. But then again, it's just 155cc, so you can't expect much out of it lah. As with all the 155cc Yamaha bikes, there's also VVA, the variable valve actuation. At 7,500 RPM, you basically unleash the beast, and the torque and top speed is increased. So of course, this bike is still running in. We're not going to test it out anywhere in Singapore. Speed limit is 90. So nope, not in Singapore lah. Changing gears is a breeze, you know. Once again, there's quick shifter on it. Whew. You see the breeze, man. I'm not even throttling down or pulling in the clutch right now. I'm just happily changing gear. And you can see that on the gauge cluster, once it's ready for you to quick shift, there's actually a QS on the gauge cluster ready for you to see over here. I don't know if you can see lah, but the jerk is very prominent when you are using the quick shifter. So do not be shocked lah. And given the awesome performance on this bike, you know, if somebody is tailgating you, you want to get away from sticky situations, you are able to get away pretty fast. I mean, at the throttle, the bike really goes, you know. Whew. Man, I love lane splitting on this thing. I mean, the R15M really is more than just an appearance package. It really has the tech, the riding tech that you'd expect of a premium bike, you know. And which is very surprising that Yamaha is able to put all this in a Class 2B bike. And these features usually come with very premium Class 2 bikes, you know. Even Class 2 bikes, some of them, they don't even have such riding features. Especially my bike. Class 2B bikes really have come a long way from being just transport to a statement. And that really tells you a lot with the bikes that every manufacturer has been releasing these days. There's so many choices for Class 2B riders nowadays, from adventure to sports to off-road. What a good time to be a Class 2B rider, man. I wish during my time we have a lot of choices for Class 2B bikes. Okay, so riding into the highway now. And yeah, this is the street position that I'm riding right now. So if you were to lean lower like this, this is a track position. But we're not gonna do that. Later people take picture. I don't want. I think on the highway there will be no issues at all, given that this bike is meant to go fast, and given the general design of the bike, Yamaha says it's supposed to cut the wind very well. So it does deliver that on-track performance when you need it. And leaning into this bend over here, whoa, effortlessly, man, just effortlessly. So we got a bend in front of us. Oh man, effortlessly, just leaning slightly into the bend right there, and then we have traffic in front of us. Yeah. But it's okay lah. I think if there's a windy road or you're at the gap or anything, you're gonna enjoy playing the corners with the R15M. And I certainly enjoyed myself. So once again, this bike is from Vroom Leasing. You can rent this bike, and they have a lot of other unique bikes that you can rent. So do have a look at their Facebook, their Instagram, and they also have promos also. So do keep yourself updated lah if you want to rent or try out bikes from them lah. And I'm pretty happy that I got a chance to ride the R1M, you know. I think if I were a Class 2B newbie and I want to look flashy on the road, I wouldn't mind getting an R15M. It really has the look, the performance, and I think Class 2B newbies, they just pass, wouldn't have an issue at all. I mean, the suspension is also really good. It really absorbs most of the in-road imperfections, road markings and bumps. Yamaha really makes awesome bikes, and they really did an awesome job with this one. Oh, I'm gonna tell you, I'm really enjoying myself. Alright, so let me give you guys my conclusion on the R15M, and we'll see you after this. So I had 2 days with the bike, and I must say that the R15M, okay, really impressed me. But I've never ridden the R15 V1, V2, V3, the base model V4. But looking at it and comparing with what I've ridden from the other 455cc models, particularly the MT15, this is really awesome bike in my personal opinion. And it's really a good beginner bike, great handling and the performance to match. And I also love the styling, the design, the general outlook of it. And surprisingly, for a Class 2 motorcycle, it has a lot of riding tech and features which is good for on-track performance and also the street really in line with all the bikes in this current era. And I think, in my personal opinion, looking at the reviews online for this bike, this is much more of a street bike that has on-track capabilities, because in India, where this bike is very popular amongst young riders, I've seen them going onto the gravel and the dirt path with no issues on this bike, and it has enough riding technology for the track. In my personal opinion, for riders who want to get the R15 V4, it's not really necessary for you to get the R15M, because the features that it has, such as the quick shifter and the automatic engine cut off when you put down the side stand, really feels kind of gimmicky in my personal opinion. I personally think that the R15M is good for riders who go to track on a daily basis, given that it has the on-track riding aids such as quick shifter and traction control toggle. But if you're using this to daily your bike, I don't think it's necessary to upgrade to the R15M. Just get a V4 instead. Who knows, maybe slightly cheaper. Personally, it's a good beginner bike. Really awesome suspension, really absorbs most of the road imperfections and road markings. And I think it's an awesome bike, other than the sitting position, which I am not used to because I'm not really a fan of the sports bike riding position. But other than that, I think Yamaha really did build an awesome machine. And yeah, just don't spoil the reputation of the R15 because Yamaha really did build a good bike. So ride safely, ride carefully, and don't spoil the image of the Yamaha R15, and especially with this one. Okay. You want to ramp it, go ramp it on the track lah. Alright, so this particular R15M is borrowed to me from Room Leasing. You can actually rent this bike, okay, if you want to try out, if you want to consider the R15 with M. Oh my god, it's really a mouthful. You can just get in touch with them, rent it out for a few days and see if you like it. That's it for the vlog, and we will see you in the next one.